Hello everybody, it's your girl Sabrina here, screaming, memeing. But anyways, I wanted to show you guys how I edit my video. I get a lot of comments about the quality of my video, and I do not use high-tech equipment or anything like that, so I just wanted to kind of show you guys what I do to edit. Okay, so the program that I use here is Final Cut Pro. This is the icon for it. I am recording on my MacBook, my Apple Air, so that's the program that I use. But anyways, so this program is pretty easy to use. You can create a new project. So I'm going to create a new project, and that's what I pretty much start with. And you can just drop in whatever files or whatever that you have right there. So the audio, how I record my audio is I record it using GarageBand, and I use a Blue Yeti. So that's what I use. I use the Blue Yeti to record my audio, and after I finish recording my audio, I just send the song to iTunes and I title it, my name is Sabrina, I just title it whatever, and then I push share. I already did that in this case, so I don't have to do that. Instead, afterwards, I import it directly into my Final Cut Pro. You can do that by dragging it into the program, or using going to start file import and stuff like that in order to add it. But in this case, I already have it here, so I put my media here. This is my video that I recorded. As you can see, it is very low quality, stuff, and so I have to actually use some of the editing equipment here to improve the quality of the video. Sorry about the background noise. My AC is running. So when I first get the raw video, this is how it looks like. It's alright, but as you can see, it's basically true lighting. This is how I actually look. This is my skin tone and everything, but I obviously darken it so that then there's more contrast, and I'll show you how to do that. So the first thing I do is I take my audio, which I import it into the program, and I align it to the rest of my video. Now, since I record it separately, it might not be directly aligned initially. So I oftentimes just have to kind of maneuver it so that it kind of lines up together. And how I make sure that the audio will be aligned is I take a clap. You see here I'm clapping, and that's how I'm able to kind of match it all together. And yeah, like that. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I might edit this out. But this is just me lining it up like that. You can see this is where the clap is. You can see this is where my real audio is that I recorded separately in GarageBand, and I just line it up like that. Sometimes I like to zoom in a little bit to make sure that the audio is actually lining correctly. And there you go. After that is done, I zoom out and I make sure that the audio is just as long as the video, and then I mute my naturally occurring audio, which is coming from my camera. And my camera that I use the Canon M50, so it's actually a really cheap camera to buy. I think it's less than $400 or something. It's really cheap, and actually the iPhone has better quality, but I don't have a lot of memory on my iPhone, so I don't use it to record my videos. But if I could, I would. Anyways, so after I do that, I just want to make sure that the audio makes sense. Sometimes I, show it again to make sure that it's aligned. Now for the audio, I add a filter, more like a quality control to the audio, and that is, these are called the functions. You can, basically effects that you can add to your video. And the audio editing that I use is called AU Dynamics Processor. That's what I add to the audio, and what that does is it makes the very, very loud sounds a little lower, and the very, very quiet sounds a little louder. That's what it does. And then I also add a loudness to my audio so that then everything is slightly louder and uniform. Sometimes I bump this up to 50% just so it can be a little more louder, but that will not distort the quality of your sound. Next, I remove some noise here. And I only remove about 5% of the noise, and that's because I don't really have a noise controlled environment, so I often have to do that. So those are the audio that I edit. Next, I just chop my video to where it's gonna end. This is me. Okay, so I obviously want it to end somewhere like that. Mind you, I already edited this video. I'm just going through the motions again, kind of show you guys how I edit. Good, good. And even though in the beginning I will chop this part off, but you know, this is how I pose for my video. Like, I just pose and you know, to make my thumbnails in the beginning. That's how I do it. That. So if you notice, this background is really gray and it's really bright. Well, I do things to make my image more dark and more sharp. The first thing I do is I go to this exposure. It's in this function here. I'm not sure what it's called. I guess Color Inspector in Final Cut Pro, and I decrease that by a lot. You can see I just decrease it, and that's already decreasing your background. So they have these functions here. Some is for the shadows, this is for midtones, and this is for highlights. Now highlights will darken your eyes. The shadows, midtones would generally darken my face and like lipstick or something, my fingers. The shadows will darken the background. So you can see there, see it's darkening the background like that. And sometimes, you know, I go ahead and darken my face, and then I darken the eyes. So you can see there. That's how I make my eyes darker and stuff like that, you know. Nextly, next I edit the video quality. To do that, I put on 2 filters. There's one called Crisp Contrast. I drop that right into the video. And see, you can see there's already a great contrast. Now that's a bit too much, so I go to effects here, which is like your video inspector, and this is the crisp contrast. I reduce that down to probably around 1 or 2%, just very small, or a fraction or percent. Let's do 5 in this case. So you can see there's already a crisp contrast that they created using that function. And lastly, I add another editing, and that is Sharpen, because I want my video to be nice and crispy, and you can see the ice a little bit. And unfortunately, my video quality is so low that you won't be able to see it without this function here. So I go ahead and drop that into the video as well. As you can see, it automatically sharpens my video by a lot. And I'll remove that. Once you look here, oh, excuse me, I'm a little sick. So once you see here, it's extremely sharp. The backgrounds are super dark, right? And it's just so great. You can see here. So if you take off the effect, look how it is. Okay? Without the effect, look how it is with it. You see the difference? It's a huge difference. Look at the eyes quality. Okay, so those are the 2 things that I used for that. Next, I'm going to show you guys how I create, I'm not going to show you how I do my end screen, because that can be, not everybody is really interested in that, and it takes kind of a while to do that. But instead, I'm going to show you guys how I add my subtitles to my video. So I make sure that my video is aligned, of course. Make sure it's aligned at both ends. And what I use here is there is like titles and stuff that are already built in to the video program. Now I used to use Motion. Motion is a program that I have here. I used to use it and create these elaborate little built-in things and stuff like that. But I stopped using that because I don't really need it. I try to simplify things because I noticed that you guys like more simplistic things, so that's what I start doing. Now there's going to be a title with a little barcode. Here it is. No, not that one. Oh, there it is. Finally. Okay, so this one, I'm not sure what the title is. It's called Soft Bar, I guess. Soft Bar. I drag that into my video, and it gives you about, I think, 4 seconds of soft bar naturally. That's how it looks like before I do any editing. And I usually make it, you know, bigger so I can at least see it. So you can see the background is white and the text is black. So I have to change that. So I click on it, make sure it's highlighted. And here you can change your background color to black. And I don't need this at all. So what I do is I just backspace this here. so that it disappears. Now this, I want this text to be white. Let's go back here, and this will be the color 2. Color 2, I click on it, I turn it to this ice or snow white. Like that. Now this bar right here is a little bit too high, so you have to change it. And in order for me to do that, I just move the top down like that. And you can move this down. And if you double click it here, you can increase the sides so it's nice and wide. And that's how I did my subtitles. I think it's still centered, and I don't think I have it bold. I think I use regular font. And that is my subtitles. You can see here, it's pretty much good how it is. Sometimes I make it darker. You can make it darker by clicking on this function, build it in, build out, make it opaque, using this one here. Opacity is how transparent it is, right? So you can make it more transparent, you can make it more dark, or actually I guess that's just how dark it can be, or blend it with something such. So that's pretty much how I do my editing, everybody, for the most part. After I set about my audio and stuff, just so that then everything can be edited along, if I need to cut it or whatever, I combine these 2 clips. This is going to be such a crappy instruction, but basically you just have to combine them so that if you want to cut the video part, you can cut the audio at the same time. That's basically what that is doing. So there you have it here. This is where I do my little posing for the video. And yeah, just like that. And so since here I'm already eating it, and I'm posing, I just cut it here, and Control B is cutting. And then from here, I just take a few screenshots. Like if I want to take that, I'll just do save current frame. I'm sure there's like a shortcut thing I could do, but I don't know how to do that yet. And I just save it as, like, you know, something to save it as my screenshot. And that is pretty much it. After that, I just delete this part, and I copy and paste this bar along wherever I want to put my commentary in. So that's pretty much my editing, the meat of my editing. As far as my end screen and stuff, I built that end screen, but that's way too complicated and unnecessary. But generally speaking, if you guys want to improve your quality of your videos, this is all that I recommend. Okay, you guys have a great day. Bye bye, and I see you guys in another video soon. Bye bye.